Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cat AI webinars, specifically our A365 series. I'm going to be your host. I'm Ashley, and then we have some fantastic speakers: Mihaela Blendia, Gaia Solomon, Leandro Iwaze, and Minzu, um, to kind of cap off our A360, our Agent 365 series in January. So really happy to have them.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Um, Hello, everyone. I'm Hela Blenda. I'm part of the Agent 365 team. And just a quick overview and recap from the previous sessions. As Ashley mentioned, this is the last one from a series for Agent 365. We see that AI agents have moved way beyond the experimental phase. They are live now and operating in organizations like yours all around us. We're interacting with them every single day. And the big shift is that modern agents work autonomously. They're learning, they're evolving, and tackling sophisticated tasks that previously needed human intervention, now less and less. That's the reason behind the widespread adoption and explosive growth that we see in every industry. And the data supports this trend. We're looking at 1.3 billion agents worldwide in just few short years. And the reality is that agents are quickly becoming as routine as applications or databases were in the days. We're talking about a fundamental transformation in how work gets done. Now, it's all good. Scaling up is great. But without control mechanisms in place, this is not innovation. That's where risks come into the picture. Customers need visibility into which agents are active in their environments. They're trying to avoid things like permission sprawl, messy life cycles issues, and security threats that are slipping under the radar. That's exactly why we created Agent 365 that serves as the control plane for all AI agents in a single unified platform that provides observability, governance, and security for enterprise-scale agentic deployments. It covers 5 critical capabilities: a registry for tackling and discovery, access control for managing permissions, visualization for monitoring and getting insights, interoperability so it works across all the platforms, and security to defend against threats. And all of this lives right inside the products and tools you're already using to manage your users. So agents fit directly into your existing security and governance infrastructure. There is no need for extra tooling. You don't have shadow IT creeping in, and it's simply one unified approach for handling both users and agents. And that leads us to our focus for this session. We'll demonstrate how Agent 365 delivers trust via governance, security, and scalability using integrated tools that address the real-world challenges that IT admins, data security teams, and security operations are facing right now. So by this point, you've got a sense that Agent 365 operates across the essential layers of your security infrastructure. It begins with observability and governance in the Microsoft Admin Center. That's where your visibility and governance foundation lives. From there, it flows into Entra for identity and access governance, Purview for data protection, and Defender for threat detection and response. That's what really sets apart all these experiences is integration. And we have these comprehensive agent activity logs that feed security experiences across every layer of the stack. Policies configured in Microsoft Admin Center are automatically applied to all the security products. Then when in Defender flags an incident, it connects directly to identities in Entra or data policies in Purview, just to give some examples. So this means that administrators, security teams, and business decision makers each get exactly what they need at the respective layer where they operate. But everyone's working from the same unified picture of agent activity. With this level of transparency, you can validate agent outcomes, protect sensitive data, and measure whether your agents are actually delivering the ROI you expect. Agents that integrate with the Agent 365 platform use the Agent 365 Observability SDK to capture and send usage data to the same tools you're already using to secure your infrastructure. So the result is that IT professionals, security teams, and business leaders all gain clear visibility and actionable data. So agents don't operate in the dark. They're accountable, they're transparent, protected at all times. So let's see how these integrations are surfaced first, as I said, in Microsoft Admin Center for agents that are under Agent 365 management. So let me quickly shift to... Okay, hopefully you see the right screen now. I didn't mess up again. So right from the start in Microsoft Admin Center, we see key metrics for Copilot, for agents and users. And from here, we can easily navigate to the Agent 365 overview page. This page displays insights across the entire agent ecosystem with signals collected by the same common observability pipeline that I mentioned. We can view efficiency gains like ROI, usage patterns, and also agents that require attention. I mentioned that all this data is actionable. So you can see agents that are flagged with risks or awaiting deployment approval. And as I said, you can see agent usage to identify trends and track AI adoption in your tenant. Now, let's dive into other tools that provide even deeper visibility into agent operations, like the agent registry view. Here, you see all the agents. You can track activity per agent, updates, ROI metrics, and so on. More like you can filter by these risks in the risk tab. You can see agents that require attention, and more than that, like if you can easily detect how to react to those incidents, right? What is the right tool for you to use to react to respective risk? So in this case, you can see that the data shows that there is unusual user activity for these agents, and you can address those concerns in Entra. Next, we have the agent map. It's a visual representation of the complete agent landscape. You can quickly see agent details, inspect each agent, and as I mentioned, like usage, trends, and the similar view that we saw before with regard to the risk, and determine the proper action to take. Microsoft Admin Center is also the place where you will assess and onboard new agents. Under the Request tab, you can see agents that are waiting for approval, administrative approval, and we can inspect them, decide to deploy or reject. So with each agent request, you can see the details about like what tools are using, knowledge sources, what permissions are required for this agent to work properly, what are the protections that are in place. And when we're ready, we deploy, we decide what users have access to this agent. We select a set of policies that are in place to start these agents from a secure posture, right from the deployments, accept all the permissions required, and when we're ready, we publish and deploy. Finally, I want to highlight one more tool that is available. This is the place where you can manage MCP servers and tools, the ones that are recommended to use with Agent 365. We can easily find which servers are available to the organization, and we can define allow or blocked tools. So I'm just gonna pick up a random one. You can see the details. What are the publisher? And then if we determine that this is a risk for our organization, we can easily block it. And when that risk is eliminated, we can unblock. So just to wrap up, we quickly covered how Agent 365 observability flows directly into actionable controls via Microsoft Admin Center. You can easily transition from monitoring agent activity to responding to incidents. The agent registry and the agent map provide you with comprehensive dashboards that highlight what's critical for you. And from that point on, you're in full control. You can adjust permissions, apply policies, and roll out new agents, all starting from the same interface that guides you to the right tool to use for full control. This becomes your unified command center where IT admins, AI administrators aren't just monitoring, they're securing, they're governing, and scaling AI throughout their organization. Now, visibility and governance are important, but without the security in place, this becomes, again, a risk, right? It's not a complete picture. So I'm going to hand over to Leandro to talk about like how Entra becomes this fundamental piece in the security stack for Agent 365 by providing identity and access controls. So Leandro, you want to take over?
Yeah, sounds great. So I'm sharing my screen. Hopefully folks can see and you guys can hear me well. So my name is Leandro. I'm on the Entra team. I'm going to explain to you folks and customers how does Entra enable A365 to do governance of agents. Yeah, at least from an identity perspective. So Mihaela mentioned about A365, right, which has 5 core principles or pillars such as registry, access control, visualization, interoperability, and security. But there are 2 of those 5 pillars that are actually enabled by Entra. The 2 pillars that I'm talking about is about the registry and access control. So what does it mean? The registry is about having visibility of our agents in the tenant. And the second thing about access control, what kind of resources does the agent have access to? So this is enabled by Entra and specifically Entra Agent ID. So what is then Entra Agent ID? How does it do that? So that's what we're going to cover in the next 2-3 slides, just provide context before then doing a deep dive into governance enabled by Entra for A365. But for now, Entra Agent ID perspective, there are 3 core things that we're enabling customers to do for the agents. Number 1 aligns really well with the first pillar from A365 about being able to register, discover, see agents into the tenant. The second thing about governance. But governance is a broad term, right? So from an Entra perspective, what we are enabling is the governance of agent identities through the life cycle. And I'm going to do a click down and I'm going to have a demo to explain more details about that. That's going to be the core of the presentation. But the last thing that we also enable is how do we protect access to resources? Okay, but how does it work from Agent ID perspective? Is there some kind of a diagram flow to see? Yes, so let me show you. The first thing is that customers, they don't need to acquire new skills in order to use Entra Agent ID. The tools that are in products are very familiar already, and we have over 1 billion customers already using Entra. The same tools are used to secure agent identity and access. So how does it work? On the left side, you have on the diagram, you have the agents. And Mihaela mentioned that the expectation is to have 1.3 billion agents by 2028. Just to give an idea of scale, that's the population of India today. So really is going to be an explosion of the number of agents. And then what does Agent ID, what does it do? It actually provides unique IDs to those agents so they can be tracked. And with the IDs, then you can control what kind of resources they have access. On the right side, for example, resources such as applications, clouds, networks, users, and other agents as well. But what's inside Entra Agent ID? So there are a couple of things here that I think is important to understand. And I will start from the bottom to the top. But the first thing, discoverability registration of all those agents and be able to, number 1, see. Second thing, assign specific IDs or object IDs or agent IDs so that we can track them. But the key component about having an ID is that with that, you can enable the authentication and authorization of those agents via tokens. This is a very important concept for Entra and Entra Agent ID. and even for the governance to work as part of A365, right? So then on top of the authentication authorization, we came to the governance, which I'm going to talk next, and then also enable protection to resources and secure access to network as well. So now that I gave you guys a brief overview about Entra Agent ID, let's do a deep dive into the governance component and how do we enable the governance of agent identities through its lifecycle. So in order to do this, I need to introduce three key concepts for folks into the call. Number one is about the concept of a sponsor. So what is a sponsor? A sponsor is basically to make sure that we have a human or a person associated with the agent through its life cycle. That's the first thing. The second concept that's super important is about the management of the agent life cycle from creation to deactivation. And how do we do that at scale? Because again, with 1.3 billion agents in 2028, we really need to do everything at scale. And the last thing is how to enforce least privilege via access package, which means give agents access to only the resources that they need to have access, and we need to control how long does that access extends as well. Yeah. Then from a sponsor perspective, I mentioned those are actually humans or people who are associated with the agents. Basically, they are an accountability layer for the agent. And a sponsor could be one person or it could be a group of people basically responsible for the agent activities, but most importantly, access decisions through the agent lifecycle. So which resources you're going to have access. So the main goal with having always a sponsor is to make sure that agents, they're not unmanaged, unsupervised, or for agents or ungoverned. So that's what we're trying to prevent. Make sure that we always have a sponsor associated with the agent. We spoke about the sponsor, right? So what enables us to always have a sponsor with the agent through this life cycle? By enabling what we call lifecycle policies. And I'm going to be doing a demo about this workflow later. But the goal here is to make sure that if there's any changes in, let's say, the organization of the company, which means maybe a sponsor changed teams, or maybe even the person left the company or there are new employees and whatnot. So the goal is to make sure that a human is always notified that there are those changes happening. So it's aware and can take actions to make sure that the agent always has a sponsor. Yeah. So we have, and again, automatic workflows to help enable these at scale. So this was about automatic workflows, right? So now we make sure that agent always has a sponsor assigned. The last thing that we have is to enforce package access, which basically what it enables the access of agents, access to resources, to be intentional, to be time-bound, which means you can set parameters such as 1 hour or maybe a day, a week, or a year, depending on the duration of the project or the activity. And this is better because instead of granting like a stand permission that lingers for a long, long time and whatnot, so we also ensure there's a clear audit trail as well. So you can always go back and see what kind of resources did the agent had access and whatnot. So be able to go back and look at those logs. Also very important to have full visibility about what did the agent do. Have one more slide and I'm going to do the demo. But the next slide, just to tell how does this flow kind of all comes together, right? So on the left side, we start with the creation of the agent. When the agent is created, could be in Copilot Studio, could be on Foundry, but the goal is after they are created, they have an agent ID automatically assigned. They're also gonna get a sponsor assigned from the creation. The sponsor, as I mentioned before, kind of the circle on the top here, kind of the path on the top. The sponsor is going to request access for the agents. So let's say this agent needs to have access to these other agents or these specific resources in the company in order to execute the process or projects that he needs to do. Access approved. There's always a continuous review from the system to make sure that, just to ensure that the least privilege amount of access for the agent. Then when I mentioned also about that access needs to expire, so a set expiration could be a day, a month, a year. And if actually the agent is no longer needed, the agent identity can be deleted. And if it's deleted, the agent will not be able to authenticate and get authorized because it's not going to be able to have tokens anymore. So that's how it works. So it's kind of a full flow. And on top of that, there's ongoing auditing and reporting. So customers can go back and see exactly what happened from agent identity governance perspective through its life cycle. Now, the last thing that I have before turning to Ming is a quick demo just to show at least the lifecycle workflow and how does it work. So let me go there. So this is the Entra Admin Center, or the Entra UI. If you go to the ID Governance tab, you can click into the lifecycle workflows. And then if you go to the workflows, you can search for specific ones. So this is sponsor for AI agent. It's a new one. It was released in public preview in November, in addition to all the agent ID capabilities that I kind of mentioned before. And with these, you can select the specific workflow, and then you can set up the tasks and parameters for the workflow. So here are specific examples of what we can do. You can send an email to notify the manager that the user or the sponsor moved to another team. You can actually remove the user from a select groups and whatnot, or you can send an email to co-sponsors about maybe sponsor changes and whatnot as well. So let's say we select to send an email to the manager, and this is just an example of the type of notification that the person is going to receive, or the manager. In this case, it's in a mobile device. And then if you open the message, you'll be able to see that in this case, the sponsor as Cooper has moved to another job profile, has left the organization, and then that the agent needs to have a new sponsor assigned. So I just did a quick demo and cover how Entra or Entra Agent ID enables the ID governance from A365. Again, all of this is currently available in public preview. With that, I'll turn it over to me to talk about Purview, and I'll be monitoring the IAM window for any potential questions customers may have. Yeah.
All right. I hope you guys can hear me and can see my screen and everything's okay.
Yes.
Sounds good. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Leandro. So hi, everyone. My name is Minzhou. I'm a product manager on the Microsoft Purview team. Joining me today also has Tiffany on the chat. She's also from Purview team and the product manager. She will be help us answer any Purview questions in the chat. So we're happy to be here. So just now you heard how Microsoft Entra governance agent identity. I'm going to build on that and show you what happened next. How we can protect the sensitive data agent can access, and then how security team and the compliance team using Purview to manage their risks. So before we get into the slides, let me ground this in the real moments. Imagine you're a customer of the large bank, and you ask the bank's AI agent a simple question about a transaction. The agent is fast, is helpful, and then it accidentally shows you someone else's account information. You will be terrified as a customer, and then for the bank, that's a nightmare. So this is the kind of data security risk, and I think the data security team and the compliance team are now expect to prevent. So one second, let me go to the next slide. So here is a day in life of a data security and the compliance admin. Today everyone is is already headache, and it's well known. So as a data security and the compliance admin, you are investigating data incidences, and you're also required to reclassify your data on a database, and then you also need to manage the policies across the organization. And then now on top of all of this, you also need to make sure AI and the agents are accessing and using sensitive data safely. So that's the reality all this team has to operate in now. Agents are transforming how work gets done, but they're also introducing new interaction patterns. Like this, agent to human, agent to agent, agent to models, and agent to tools. So and each of these interactions now need to be protected. So in addition to every security team is already responsible for, you have to take care of all this. So the data protection has to expand. It has to adopt how agent actually works across these interactions and workflows. So this is exactly what we're doing for Purview for Agent 365. We're expanding all the familiar Purview policies and the control plan and extending to agents. We started with agent observability, giving you the full visibility into what agents are doing and how they're interacting with the data. We also extend familiar capabilities like insider risk, and now adopt to understand anonymous and risk agent behaviors. We also extend information protection and data loss prevention, ensure agents have the right access, controls, and nothing more than what they can access. And also from the compliance point of view, we also extend the compliance. So from retention, e-discovery, communication compliance, and audit, all covering agent activities. So it's the same, Purview foundation. And then now we expand everything to cover, agents. So next, I will show you, in a demo in three parts. First, the agent in action. So what looks like when the agent is doing the work. And then, I will show you how the secure admin gain visibility and how they manage the agent risks. And the last, I will also walk through, how the compliance admin to manage, and the maintenance, compliance. So let's dive into demo. Let me switch the screen here. All right. So meet Dean, here. So he's on the Java procurement team. He, late night, he has to close, few, procurement deals. So he turns to Java procurement agent for help. Right here, he's asking Java procurement agent to summarize all the relevant document to close the, procurement deals. So here is the key moment. When the Java procurement agent hit the first document, it is labeled as highly confidential. And Java procurement just stopped right here. So Purview enforced, list the privilege access right here at the runtime. And the Java agent only allowed to access what it is allowed to. And also, there are two documents which is not, protected, but it's only labeled but not protected. Java procurement agent be able to summarize them. And I think when summarization happens, it's also inherit the label right here. So right here, Dean still gets the help, what he needs, but I think without put any sensitive data at risk. Next, Dean is trying to ask the Java procurement agent to summarize this in an email and send it to an external client. When he does that, right here, Purview detect the sensitivity data included inside in the emails, and Purview block this before the information sent outside the organization. So this is the existing DOP for emails. It continue works, for agents, and right here it prevent data leak to outside the organization. And now Dean also trying to do something he should not to do, and he's asking the agent to writing an email which is across ethical boundary. And when he does that, the agent refuses, and Purview also flagged this. So what you just saw here is it's not just about data access control, compliance, policies, everything apply right here in the action, and the Purview protects all of this. So now let me switch to a second part, which is from the data security admin point of view. So right in Microsoft Purview, data security posture management and AI observability, as a data security admin, I'm able to see all the agents across my organization, first party and third party, and Microsoft and the non-Microsoft ones right here. And I also can see what all the sensitive data being used and how they're being used, what all the risk being associated with all these events each of agent does. And if you remember, the Java procurement agent is on the top right here, which is highlighted as high risk. So as a data security admin, I can drill into this Java procurement agent. I'm able to see what exactly event happened in a sequence view and the step by steps, and it can tell me why this is a flag as high risk agent. If I want to zoom in, I still can get into the Activity Explorer in the DSPM. Right here, I can see all the actions, all the interactions the agent has been taken, and who are the user interact with, and which tool they interact with. And if you look at this, most of them are normal, but I think the risk ones, which stand out right here, and on the top, the DOP rule match. This is exactly the email the agent attempt to send it to the external client. And right here, as a data security admin, I can view the full details. It is even more than what the end user can see. So I can really dig into to perform your investigation right here, and to make decisions what I should take action on this. So what I just show you is just how the data security admin view of how Purview help them to understand and investigate agent risks. So with that, I'm also switched to as a compliance admin. So everything the agent did, like the data access and like the block email, like the refuse the request from Ding, it is all logged in Purview, and it is all kind of preserved for compliance team and for review and investigation. So if you remember the conversation, the unethical conversation happened a few minutes ago, it is flagged right here in Purview. This is in the communication compliance solution. And the Purview surface, all this matters to the compliance admin. And right here, they also can view all, which is can look at all the recent interactions, Ding, interact with other agents or maybe the same agents to make sure to review if, Ding as the, repeated offender or not. So right here, Purview really, surface what matters for the compliance admin to perform investigation and to take actions. And next, as from the legal perspective, let me just just 1 second. Let me just drag this. From the legal team perspective, all the Copilot agent interactions are included part of e-discovery solution, and it is available for the legal team to including in their legal case, and they can use this as evidence as needed. And when come to audit and the regulatory needs, Purview audit every single I think agent activities. It provide a full audit trail for agents, no matter is agent to human, human to agent, agent to tool calls, agent to model calls, everything being captured here. So with this, when organization trying to respond any auditor or regulatory ask, hey, when, who did what, and also which agent included, and they can respond to any of these requests with confidence and defensibility. So what I just show you now is, hey, whether you're in the security team, compliance team, legal team, Purview provide you full visibility and controls as well as audit trail, so you can deploy agent responsibly. So this is exactly how Purview extend to agent era. With this, I'm hand over to Gaia from Microsoft Defense side to talk about how Defender protect agents.
Thank you, Min. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you guys see my screen okay?
All good.
All right. So hi, everyone. My name is Gaia. I'm a senior product manager at Microsoft Defender for AI. I'm very happy and excited to be here with you all today. So we talked about the speed and scale at which AI agents came into our lives and our organizations, and all the ways that Microsoft Agent 365 helps you govern those agents. I want us to go back a few minutes to understand why it is so important that we manage and protect those agents from a threat protection point of view. So AI in general and agentic AI specifically introduce new attack surfaces that traditional security tools are just not prepared for. Yes, agents can be susceptible to traditional threats like the ones targeting the underlying application, the infrastructure, or the data itself, but threat actors can now also exploit the agent's language understanding. They slip past the traditional defenses because there's no malware signature. There is no suspicious login, just context-rich text that manipulates the AI's decision-making processes. Essentially, the hackers can now hack into the AI's brain, as we call it, not a server or other kind of infrastructure. In addition, the agent themselves have a memory. Some of them interact with tools autonomously and without any human oversight, and others can even take action and affect business flows. There's another shift that is happening at the same time. That is who is building those agents. There are new types of builders that are emerging along with new building tools, whether it's the end user or the makers, as we call them, that they are leveraging the low-code, no-code solutions like Copilot Studio, or the professional developers that are working with advanced tools like Microsoft Foundry. Everyone now has the tools to create AI agents at their fingertips. While this democratization can without a doubt drive amazing transformation and business value, it also may create a risk that attackers could leverage. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. So that brings us to what Defender is doing. We have integrated with Agent 365's Observability SDK to deliver threat detection and threat hunting capabilities for any AI agents in your environment, no matter which platforms they are created on. This is critical because we know that companies and developers are going to use many types of different AI models and platforms to build the agents that they need, and we are committed to protecting all of them. These threat protection capabilities are integrated seamlessly into Defender XDR, and they can be accessed through the native Defender experiences like the incidents and alerts queues and advanced hunting so that you can build upon your already existing flows and well-known experiences. In addition to the previously mentioned capabilities, Microsoft Defender have built-in securities capabilities to Microsoft ecosystem and agents creation platforms. Our vision is to provide comprehensive capabilities to secure AI agents from build to runtime, regardless of who is building these agents or where they're built on. And we do this in two phases. First phase is the visibility posture management to help you configure agents securely from the start. And second, with continuous monitoring and threat detection to protect those agents during runtime. This comprehensive approach helps organizations address the sheer scale of agents creation and deliver protection consistently, what we call from build to runtime. Simply put, it's helping our customers start secure and stay secure. So first, we're gonna start secure. First step is visibility with the new inventory experience for AI agent within Defender. With this new view, just like human identities and other cloud assets, application, etc., security admins see a prioritized view of the AI agents within their organization. The inventory and agent pages surface critical data and insights on the agent. For example, what the agent is, who owns it, where it came from, what kind of tools it can invoke, and much more. And with Agent 365, these insights here will only continue to grow. Agent identity, data access, and even third-party building platforms that will all be soon part of this experience. So clicking on an agent on the list in the inventory will open the agent side pane that contains a clear and condensed view of the agent data, including security alerts and recommendation, which I'll explain about in a bit. This experience travels with you across Defender and is available through the incidents and alerts experience as well to allow you to gain important agent context no matter which flow you're coming with. Another click takes you to the entity page, which allows you to deep dive into the agent details in a dedicated view that is including the agent map and attack paths that I'll explain about in a minute as well. The agent inventory data is also available via Advanced Hunting, where you can see additional deep dive data like the agent's tools and access. We've also added a set of pre-populated queries to the Advanced Hunting community queries to help you quickly identify misconfigured or potentially risky agents within the hunting flow. And I'll show you this in a few minutes in a demo. Now that we have visibility, the next step is posture and exposure management. This is where Defender helps you identify exposure gaps early and reduce risk before attackers can take advantage of them. Security recommendations give you a clear, prioritized view of what needs fixing, things like unauthenticated agents, unsafe configuration, or risky tools access. It's a simple checklist that helps the team harden agents quickly and consistently. With attack path analysis, we show you how those small issues can chain together into a real exploit, the same way an attacker would move through your environment in a real attack scenario. So instead of guessing where the weaknesses are, you can get a visual map of how the agent could be compromised and exactly which fixes will break that path and prevent the next attack. This combination, recommendation plus attack path, helps organization move from reactive to proactive security, enhancing agent protection before anything can go wrong. All of these insights are surfaced through the dedicated Microsoft Security Posture Management experiences, as well as through the AI agents page that I just showed you a few slides back. Now let's shift gear a bit and talk about how we stay secure with Microsoft's threat protection capabilities. We talked about how agentic threats are fundamentally different from traditional threats. Today in Defender, we have 3 capabilities to cover different threat scenarios already in public preview. First is the ability to detect jailbreak attempts. Second is the real-time protection, which blocks malicious tool invocation in real time. And lastly, the addition of AI agents logs to Defender through the advanced hunting experience. First up is the out-of-the-box detections for jailbreak attempts targeting agents. We're continuously scanning the agent's logs for any sign of an attack and correlating them with other signals coming from across Defender to ensure these alerts have high fidelity and don't create a mountain of false positives to the security teams. Second, in our real-time protection capability, we evaluate the agent's planned action in real time, meaning we can detect and stop malicious behavior in real time before any tool invocation occurs, any action is taken, or any data is leaked. These events also generate Defender alerts that are automatically correlated into incidents, giving the SOC teams complete visibility and context. The agent entity within the incidents allow you to get the agent context while in the investigation flow. And as I mentioned earlier, the side pane is also available through this experience as well. Lastly, we have added agents-related activities to advanced hunting. Along with the previously mentioned AI agent inventory table, this allows the security team to hunt for threats and investigate alerts with the full context in mind. So I want to do a quick demo. And in order to start this demo, my name is Gaia. I'm a customer success manager in my company. Min and I work for the same company. I'm working for Zava as well. And for our demo today, we're going to use the Zava Customer Support Helper, which is an autonomous Copilot Studio agent designed to streamline customer support operation. Essentially, it's monitoring a dedicated support inbox. It automatically processes incoming email from customers, classify the issue that they raise in the email, and create tickets in our internal system. So in order to do this, Zava is built with 2 key tools. One is access to Dataverse MCP server, which is what enables it to access the customer record and create a support ticket in my system. And the other one is a connection to Office 365 so that it can receive and respond to the customer query via email. Because Zava handles sensitive internal data, you can imagine that it is a very valuable target for our attackers. So let's see how an attacker tries to attack the agent and how Defender comes into action. So this is an example for an email that an agent is built to handle. So this is where the customer asks for help as they're having issue accessing their account. To the naked eye, this email seems completely harmless. If I was an employee monitoring this inbox, I wouldn't have flagged anything suspicious in this email. But if we take a closer look, we can see that this email is actually an attempt to attack the agent. The attacker is using a very common technique, white-on-white text, to avoid human detection. So again, if I was just an employee for the customer, I wouldn't have been able to flag this. So you remember we talked about how AI attacks are different from the traditional attacks. Using this method, the attacker is essentially using the agent's language understanding to try and get it to do things that it shouldn't be doing and expose information that it shouldn't be exposing. In this case, the attacker is asking for databases connection and data sources that the agent can access. Okay. So here we can see that, as I mentioned, this is where Microsoft Defender comes into action with real-time protection. So you can see right here, the action was actually blocked and the email was not sent. So as soon as the agent attempts to invoke the tools, which is the email sending tools, to execute the plan, Defender intercepts and blocks the action in real time before any sensitive data can be accessed. This proactive in-the-moment protection is critical for stopping advanced attacks as they happen. And in order to ensure full visibility for the security teams, an informational alert is also sent to Defender XDR, which is providing immediate context and details about the blocked activity. So I'm going to switch over my screen to show you a quick demo in the Defender portal itself. All right. So I'm going to go over to the incident queue. And I'm going to open my incident. So this is my alert that indicated me that there was an AI tool invocation that was blocked by Microsoft Defender. You can see here, the action was actually blocked, meaning the action of sending the email didn't actually happen. I can see what tool or actually what rule created this block or what was the detection. And I can see what tool actually blocked this. If I click through the map and go to the agent details, I can see here the full view of the agent details and then all the relevant information that we need to investigate the alert. Of course, that when I'm showing this live, it doesn't work. Let's try this again. Okay. All right, so you're gonna have to trust me that it works because my environment is obviously not working. All right, so I wanted to show you that once you click on an agent, you can click on Go Hunt and actually go to the advanced hunting experience that I just showed you a few minutes ago. So I'm just gonna shortcut and go over here. So I'm just gonna go over. Oops, sorry. All right, so I'm gonna try and query my agents info table so that you can see the agents. If you click on it through the site pane, you're actually going to get a pre-populated query of the specific agent that you had in the investigation experience, and you're going to get just one result with the agent that you were planning on. So here in this experience, I can click on an agent and see all of the data that it has that I'm going to need to understand what this agent is. And then one thing that I can see on this agent is what kind of tools it has. So for this example that I'm using, I already know what kind of tools it has. So I know that it has an MCP access and I know that it has my Outlook access. And I'm gonna, since I'm a security person, I know that MCP access can actually be a very risky configuration to have for an agent because MCP usually expose a set of action that is much larger than what the actual agent needs to operate. So I want to not stop here and I want to try and understand what other agents in my environment have MCP access. So in order to do that, I'm going to switch over to queries. I'm going to scroll down to AI agents. And I know that I already have those pre-populated queries that Defender created for me. And if I click through here, I can see that this query actually is going to find for me all of the agents in my environment that have MCP servers. So when I'm going to run this query, I know which agents in my environment have MCP access, and I can evaluate and make sure that all of them actually need the access that they have. So I'm tying back to the Start Secure story or Start Secure motion, where I am trying to reduce the exposure and do proper posture management in order to prevent the next attack. So this is how I'm kind of tying together my demo for today. Gonna switch back over to my presentation. Of course, it's gonna start from the beginning. What's with my luck today? All right. Sorry, just one sec. All right. So I put here a few links for you to have to get started with Defender. These are Microsoft Learn links, so you can use them in order to start and onboard and answer any questions that you have. And I'm going to switch back over to Mihaela.
Landro, Min, Gaia, it was all awesome. Just to wrap up, oh, I do need to share my screen, right? So we'll give folks plenty of time to ask questions, but just, to as we close out, I just want to provide a summary of what we've seen today, how agents are secured through Agent 365 operating within your current governance and security infrastructure, the Admin Center for visibility and governance controls, Entra for managing identities and access controls, Purview for protecting data, and Defender for detecting threats and real-time defense. All within the Microsoft tools already that you use in your environments. And we put them together in an integrated fashion to become your control plane for AI agents.